If you're going on a journey, it's common sense to know where you're headed, but the vast majority of TV shows get underway without a concrete idea of when and where their story will end. Having a game plan doesn't always guarantee success. Mind. The Lost writers had 3 years to plan their climax, with a 2010 finale date set back in 2007, but still managed to produce one of the most divisive endings of all time. While How I Met Your Mother stuck so rigidly to an endgame plan since the pilot that it felt like a betrayal of a show that had evolved beyond its original gimmick. Advertisement. Continue reading below. But if you get it right, having some forward planning in place can produce serious results. These shows all wrapped on the perfect note, ending up where they'd always been heading. Point 1. Breaking Bad. Rex series creator Vince Gilligan had a clear vision for Breaking Bad and its protagonist, or is that antagonist, Walter White, from the very beginning. I originally pitched it to the studio with one line. I told them, this is a story about a man who transforms himself from Mr. Chips into Scarface. The corruption of Bryan Cranston's character, from mild-mannered school teacher to utterly ruthless crook, was gradually, expertly played out across the show's 5 seasons. And in the series premiere, we hear Walt tell you his students about how chemistry is the study of change, its growth, then decay, then transformation. Advertisement. Continue reading below. In the following episode, he's teaching the chemistry concept of chirality. How identical and yet opposite organic compounds may look the same, but don't always behave the same. He describes the clash of active versus inactive and good versus bad, all masterful foreshadowing of his eventual transformation into the terrifying Heisenberg. Point 2. Spartacus. Advertisement. Continue reading below. Advertisement. Continue reading below. The legend of Spartacus is fuzzy enough that you'd think stars and series creator Stephen Denight would have had quite a bit of wiggle room when it came to crafting the final episode of their brilliantly bloody take. But in fact, they were tied into a very specific ending, having meticulously foreshadowed the events of victory, way back in the Spartacus pilot. Spartacus, Liam McIntyre, dies, having lost the war against Crassus, Simon Merrill's, but having won his freedom, and is buried in a grave marked by a shield with a red serpent symbol. Back in the pilot, Spartacus, then played by the late Andy Whitfield, is told by wife Sura, Erin Cummings, that she'd had a dream in which he was bowing before a great red serpent, the life draining from his veins. Advertisement. Continue reading below. It's a warning, Sura says. If you go to war, you are destined for great and unfortunate things. Now that's quite the Easter egg. Point 3. Merlin. The legend of King Arthur might have dictated that Bradley James's character should perish in the series finale of BBC One's Merlin, but the family fantasy could easily have taken the easy way out and opted for a more palatable ending in which Arthur survived. But executive producers Johnny Capps and Julian Murphy confirmed at the end that Arthur's fate had been sealed. Almost since the beginning, we were talking about Arthur's death in Episode 8, Series 1, Murphy said. The thing is, there's something about this legend that works because it failed. They did create this Camelot, and it failed. It always carries that, as a myth, as a story, as a culture, and we can't really run away from it. Advertisement. Continue reading below. Advertisement. Continue reading below. 4. Bates Motel. A show's version of Marion Crane, Brianna, surviving her shower, and Norman Bates, Freddie Highmore, ending up 6 feet under instead of behind bars. But series creators Kerry Ehrin and Carlton Cuse insisted after the broadcast of The Cord that they'd had a particular twist on Norman's story sketched out. From the beginning, the specifics of it obviously couldn't exist until the other 49 episodes had been written. But yes, it's as we intended, Hughes said. I have to say, this has been an extraordinary experience where Kerry and I have really been able to make the show that we wanted to make, in the way we wanted to make it. Advertisement, continue reading below. We always imagined that the end of the show would be Norman and Norma couldn't find happiness in this world. Maybe only in some place beyond this world can the two of them actually have what they've always wanted, and fans and critics alike lapped up their vision. IGN raved about the excellent and heartbreaking finale, while Den of Geek called the final season as a whole stunning. Point 5. Blackadder goes forth. Each series of Blackadder explored a different incarnation of Rowan Atkinson's shrewd schemer, and inevitably, each outing would end with a character meeting his maker, save for Blackadder III, which has Edmund seize the throne after surviving a near-death experience, so that Blackadder Goes Forth, the last of the show's original runs, closed with the title character's demise wasn't entirely unexpected. What was surprising was just how poignant this particular death ended up being. Advertisement, continue reading below. Advertisement, continue reading below. Knowing Edmund's fate was sealed, writers Ben Elton and Richard Curtis initially played up his egotism and self-serving nature, as the character concocted all manner of wild schemes to escape the trenches of the First World War. Ultimately though, his loyalty to his men, Simple Baldrick, Tony Robinson, and George Hugh Laurie, overcame Blackadder's instinct for self-preservation, and they all dashed into the violent chaos of no man's land together. Blood. Point 6. Mad Men. No one could have foreseen Don Draper abandoning the life he'd built and finding refuge at a hippie commune. Except for Mad Men creator Matthew Weiner, who'd plotted the ad man's escape to the oceanside retreat from the very beginning. Advertisement, continue reading below. The idea that he would end up at an ashram, or something like that, was with me from when I pitched